I'd now like to welcome to the podcast. This is someone that I didn't think I would actually get to interview or talk to. Legendary Vampiro. Vampiro, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you? Thank you for having me on your show. Trying
Uh,
to find the to see if I can get this video going. I apologize about that.
that's no problem. But the first, I'd like to just start off by apologizing to Sean Oliver,
Fuck
because
Sean Oliver.
because for those that don't know, there was a video I did an interview with Sean Oliver, and I uploaded this clip that kind of sounded like it was a burial of you, but really, if I
Do you
send you
see
that,
me?
no.
I can see you, motherfucker. Hold on. What's wrong with this motherfucker? How's that?
Oh yeah, there's Vampiro there.
So camera test.
That's it. It's nice and
I,
focused.
I'm driving, brother, but it's good. But hey, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but basically, so that interview I did with Sean Oliver, because I was, let's be honest, I was a bit hungover and still high. Uh, we were just trashing everybody as a joke, but because taken out of context, it sounded like we were shit talking. So it was no offense intended to you or to start any shit with you and Sean Oliver.
You still there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm still. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, dude. I lost you there for a minute. Am I still with you? I can now. Yeah, there was a moment there that I couldn't. I, Sean's a real good friend of mine. And when I say fuck Sean Oliver, I say it with love.
But
And
also,
yeah, go ahead, dude.
but I think it's really it's just because of
Where are you, man?
Belfast, Ireland.
I've been there twice. Loved it. Loved it. Totally, just completely loved it.
Sadly, I don't.
Okay. I mean, being that I'm not from there. I'm Irish, Ukrainian and Irish. So when I went and I saw everything for the first time, it was intimidating. It was romantic. It was very beautiful, intense, very very fucking. Is it still like that? I'm assuming the feeling there.
Only in the fun parts.
Okay, all right. But listen, dude, I saw the title of your video. I don't really pay attention. Um, I'm just a guy who had a break and had an interesting run in professional wrestling. But when I see things like the title of your video, and it depends if I'm in a certain mood or if I'm high, I reach out and I don't like to confront, but I like to say, well, what the fuck are you talking about? And let's talk, me and you, so maybe I can give you a different opinion of me. That's why I reached out to you.
Oh, well, we're good because I got a few questions that I'd love to ask you. So of course, but one of the things is because people love hearing any sort of stories about Vampiro and Konnan because you're two of the most sort of straight talking guys out there, and it's just and so many wrestlers won't talk about maybe real life issues and stuff. So anytime you used to uh, talk about your hate, that's going to draw in listeners or viewers.
Yep, maybe, I guess. It's kind of outdated, but yeah, brother, we can talk about anything that you want. Ask me any question. Uh, I would like you to, but I'll answer it all. But I want you to explain to me as well, because I've heard things about you that you don't really like me, and that's all right. Do so because I don't care at all. So I want you to tell me so I understand what this is all about, and then we can bury those two fucks as well.
No, I think what it is your ex the podcast. co-host. I don't get along with him or like him, and he really hates the fact that other people seem to be doing better than him, so he likes to stir the shit. Because that's actually one of the things I wanted to mention to you. I seen him say to you on Twitter that I keep burying you on the Konnan podcast, but I'll send you the YouTube channel. There's zero evidence of it.
Oh man, are you? Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you a wrestling fan? Do you like pro wrestling?
I used to back in the 90s.
Okay. So your podcast now is geared towards what?
It's mostly a comedy podcast, but if I get the interview wrestlers, I'll ask wrestling topics.
Okay. Don't just ask me wrestling stuff, please, because I don't like wrestling. Disco, I know Disco because we spent a lot of time together in WCW. As a person, I don't really know him, but as a brother, like we've wrestled together. So I will always, 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 if I had to, I would be there for Disco like that because we did time together in combat. But do I like the podcast? Like Disco is the kind of guy who loves pro wrestling. He likes the guys. He likes the stories. He loves to stir shit. He loves that. He's happy. That's not my thing, man. I don't like that. I don't give a fuck about it. That's just his thing, and God bless him for it. But you know, him and Vince Russo, they just love to be involved in the behind the scenes of wrestling. Hey, man. God bless those dudes. And if they did a whole show dissecting what I say is true or not, if what I say is true or not, that's kind of fucking weird, isn't it? But it is what it is, brother.
But that's one of the things. Like I love Vince Russo, but I do think that he knows what gets listeners instead of more than what he believes. If that makes sense.
He's a character. He's making a living. At the end of the day, believe me, when that camera's turned off, he'll tell you he's more full of shit than anybody. But, you know, I really don't care about wrestling. You know what I'm saying? I like the fact that I'm Vampiro and I can still do things if it means something, but I don't spend my days sitting there staring at the wall wishing that I had another opportunity. My opportunity is pretty fucking awesome, dude. I have a great life. You know what I mean? I'm happy.
Can I ask you though, what was your opinion on the
Yeah.
fact that a couple of weeks ago, or it was the last weekend, some wrestler guy called Psychosis actually slapped Konnan out in the street? What was your take on that news?
It was a hell of a slap, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And my take on it is this: Konnan knows that there are people out there that don't like him. Konnan knows that sooner or later things like that are going to happen because of his past. For what I know of Konnan, I think it's embarrassing, but you know, he reacted exactly how he feels, and he didn't react that way because he was scared or because he was overwhelmed. I just don't think he gives a fuck, to be honest with you. The guy came out, the guy confronted him, the guy slapped him, and it could have escalated to a fight. But what I know of Konnan, he said it. You know, move on. It is what it is. It happened. He didn't react. He didn't fight. He just blew it off. It's surprise. I was waiting for Konnan to fight back, but I probably would have done the exact same thing that he did. It's like if somebody hates me that much from my past, you got to own it and fuck it, move on. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
Would you say that fights between wrestlers would happen more in Mexico than in America?
I don't think it happens anywhere. I think it happened more in Japan. than anywhere else because guys would be on the road together so long and they'd be drinking and tempers flare and things happen. I believe the way the culture is now today, nobody wants to fight anybody, and there's no reason to. Everybody's making a living. You know, some people have egos, some people start shit, but that's the nature of the beast in any business, not just wrestling. I've seen it a few times over my career that guys really throw down, but they don't hate each other. The next day they're laughing about it and they have a few drinks and then they fight again. And it's like going to an Irish funeral, you know, a few beers in and everybody's fighting. The next day no one remembers a fucking thing. It's the same thing, man. There's no real I hate you stuff in pro wrestling. If there is, it never comes to a head because wrestlers, for most parts, are full of shit anyways. And every dog really likes to bark, but they're not going to really get into it because, you know, the beef that people have is really nothing to fight about. In saying that, I think the culture is changing. Like, I remember Sasha Banks when she stood up to the WWE and the world was going to crumble around her. I think good for her that she stood up for what she believes in. Tessa Blanchard is going through some drama right now, and she's handling it pretty fucking good. I mean, if did it really happen? I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't even have an opinion on it. I could give a fuck. But there are girls that are starting to speak up, and she's handling it her way. I think the way the culture is going now, because pro wrestling is so mainstream and there are people actually making a six-figure income, that you're going to see a lot of things like that change, and a lot of people are going to start standing up to themselves. I think, what's her name, Paige? God bless her, she stood up to Triple H. I mean, but Triple H is a human being too. You know, he said that she probably has a child somewhere out of wedlock. He said it as a joke. I'm sure as soon as he said it, he was like, what the fuck did I just say? Oh my God. You know, what are you supposed to do? It doesn't matter if you try to do the right thing all day, brother. Someone's going to find something about it that's wrong. You just got to be able to understand that you're in a business where people put on spandex tights and pretend to be fighting.
Yeah.
We're actors, we're entertainers. That's it, man. Stop taking your shit so seriously. If you believe you're hype, you're fucked, dude.
Let me ask you one last Konnan related question. One of my arguments with him is that hip hop has been shit for nearly 20 years. And in fact, I don't think there's been any good rap music since 2003. What's your take on the current state of rap music?
Fuck, dude. I don't know, man. I think it all sucks dick. Konnan and I are, whether he admits it or not, we're okay. We're not buddies. We don't go to the movies, but we're okay. When you're with somebody for 30 years, it is fucking what it is, man. What am I going to do? I mean, hate him? What's he going to do? Hate me? We just don't gel, man. We're not on the same page, but I got his back, and I know he has mine. So in saying that, I'm not a fan of rap music, dude. I was there because of punk rock in New York City and in Toronto and in Montreal when all of that music was being born. Alternative music, punk rock, hardcore, hip-hop. It was all the same. We played the same clubs. We hung out together. We were friends. So when I was into the scene, it was all the same thing. Now, hip hop used to be a message like punk rock was. It was a spoken word performance explaining things that were going on in your neighborhood, in your life, and giving kids an outlet. Today, I listen to some of the things that people say, even in punk rock, but I listen to reggaeton and I listen to some of the hip hop stuff, and holy shit, are these people fucking stupid. They don't have a thing to say if you paid them. And that's what's driving me crazy. Because my daughter sometimes, she's 19, she brings me home some of this hip hop music, and I'm like, oh my God. I spent my whole life worrying about my daughter growing up stupid, and now she's listening to this fucking shit, and it's like, oh, what the fuck? But I'm sure my elders thought the same of me when I started listening to the Sex Pistols, and I started getting into punk rock. Uh, I mean, who am I to say what the fuck anybody listens to? I got no right to even have a point of view. But I agree with you, my friend. Hip hop music today, especially with the things kids are saying, it fucking sucks.
Let me ask you a question there about the Sex Pistols. Now, of course, uh, do they to you really count as a genuine band? And by that I mean they were put together by a record label, not by actually playing the clubs or making the way up. So to
That's not
me,
true at all.
they seem like more like a manufactured band than an actual real band.
No, my friend. The Sex Pistols were a real band. They were at the uh, they were real musicians. Were they turned into a cartoon publicly by their management? Yes. Uh, their reunion tours were great. Steve Jones and Paul Cook are phenomenal musicians. They all are. Yeah, but I mean, look at where they came from and the time period that they came from. They were the first ones doing that at that time, at that level. Uh, they exploded onto the scene. The press was there. The situation in England at that time was ripe for something so aggressive and in your face. And even though they only had one album, it really lasted only a year and a half. If it wasn't for that moment in time with those guys doing what they did, alternative music, the landscape would be completely different. Even Motorhead came out at the time, the Sex Pistols, the Clash, all the oi music, all the punk stuff that was happening at that point in time. The Sex Pistols, it evolved from there very quickly. But without the Sex Pistols happening when it did, fashion, political points of view, the rebelliousness of the youth, understanding that the door was being kicked open, they had a voice, I don't think it would have happened.
What's your take on the people who prefer John Lydon's other band, Pill, to the Sex Pistols? Because they've some brilliant shit.
I'm not a fan
Hmm.
at all, but I respect the fuck out of it. I like the fan of Johnny Lydon. 100. I'm a Sex Pistols guy. I don't like Pill at all, but I respect the fuck out of what they do and what they've done. Sure, of course.
I gotta ask you a wrestling question just to break up the music talk. We'll switch in between if you don't mind. Uh,
Dude, you can ask me whatever the fuck you want.
I gotta ask you about Sting. Now, one of the things that I found very strange is that he's a very Christiany guy apparently, yet he was quite brutal in comments about you. So, what's the deal with the Sting? And did you have some sort of backstage run-ins with Sting, or was he just caught in a bad mood?
I I have nothing but respect for Sting. I joke about it, but to be honest with you, uh, where he was at in his career in the United States, as opposed to me, I was in Mexico for like 18 years before I got to WCW. I mean, I had a career just as long or even longer than his. Uh, but he was the guy in WCW, and he just the fact that I had a series or a feud with him that established me. That's where my fame in the United States came from, thanks to him. Uh, I don't know what happened. He just didn't want to continue with the storyline. He stopped it. That's what I was told. I don't really know why. I never talked to him again after that. When I do see him, I always say I'm very grateful and I try to be cordial. I know he doesn't like me. I don't know why. Don't care. Uh, but I do agree with the fact that the angle was great. It was great for me, but he had his valid points. The characters were quite similar. I don't think WCW handled that very well because his ego, he was bothered by that. I don't know. I've heard many times that he doesn't think very, very highly of me, and I don't know why, because we never had any conflicts. I actually traveled with him a few times, and he was giving me advice, and he was constantly nice to me. So I hope it's not another case of classic pro wrestling where people are nice to your face and then they fucking blade you in the back. Maybe, I don't know. But I've got nothing but good things to say about him.
But that brings me to another guy, Chris Jericho. Because as far as I know, just from the American side, you two were never in the same company at the same time. Yet up until quite recently, on his podcast, he was taking shots at you. So what's all that about? Where did this Jericho issue come from?
Which, you know,
I don't actually listen to Jericho's podcast, but apparently he has been not Mr. Respectful, and he said something about you in one of his books too.
yeah, so you're hearing this from somewhere else. That's my question, yeah?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Um, I I know he spoke, maybe took shots at, or spoke about me in his book, and I didn't see it, but I know what it's about, and I agree with Chris. His comments were valid. My The way I see it is different than the way he sees it. I don't have a problem with anything he said. I actually reached out to him when that book came out, and I apologized to him. I said, if there was anything that happened in Mexico, we were young guys, um, and I don't remember. But if I did something in specific to offend you, I apologize for it, and I want to own it. Was there any heat between us? Not at all. We are different. I'm older than him, so there's a we just were from different generations. We were in Japan together. We were in Mexico together. We were in WCW together. I think his success is phenomenal. I think a storyline between Vampiro and Jericho would work because in the public eye, it's kind of like a Vampiro Konnan thing. You know, we've been around forever and we're similar, and there's dislike, distrust, there's animosity. So the storyline wise, you don't really have to do anything because it's already there. I don't dislike him at all. Do I give a fuck what he thinks about me? No, not really. But I'd rather be cool with somebody than not, right?
Well, Jericho, of course, brings me to the next music-related question. In fact, tomorrow morning, tickets go on sale. There's a show that's been announced. It's Whitesnake are going on tour with Europe. What's your take on that kind of music?
Whitesnake?
Yeah.
Why does that have anything to do with Chris Jericho? Is he on that tour?
No, it's just because he's into that
Oh,
sort of rock and roll stuff.
yeah, that's not my thing, man. I appreciate it. I remember growing up in Los Angeles in the 80s, and that was all the fuck there was those kind of bands. I was there for it. But I'm a punk rocker, dude. I like rockabilly music. I like skinhead music. I like ska. I like hardcore. I like punk. Um, yeah, that's more my thing. That Whitesnake and all that. I appreciate it. I respect it, but it's shit. It doesn't do anything for me, dude.
What about
It's
Guns N'
fucking.
Roses? We into them?
Yeah. I saw Guns N' Roses at the Cat House in Los Angeles before they had a record deal. You
Whoa.
know, back then it was, like $5. You can go and see bands. And I remember they were just breaking. It was Guns N' Roses was hot, Faster Pussycat, London Choir Boys. There was it was starting to, and that's when Guns N' Roses hit. I like Guns N' Roses. a lot. Live. I've listened to their records so many fucking times that I can't hear it again. But I do appreciate them live for sure, 100%. Yeah, yeah.
Do you think they need new stuff for this tour to stay big, or do you think they're fine playing the three albums?
I mean, they're working on a new album right now, but I think they're fine. I mean, if the Beatles came back today, would you want them to write new songs, or we want to see the old ones?
That is a
If
very
the
good point. Yeah.
right Rolling Stones, you want to see their old songs. I mean, the new songs are cool, but you go to see the Rolling Stones because of what they've done. If you saw any band from that era or older band, the Ramones were still alive and they played. Uh, you're worried about their live show and the leather jackets and the low guitars. You don't really care if they have a new song. You know what I'm saying? You go see
Yeah.
the Stray Cats have new records out all the time. Their last record, it was did it go number one? It went number one in like a day. Is it a great record? I don't like it, but I listen to it because I'm a fan of the Stray Cats. But I go see the Stray Cats because I was there when they first started, and I saw them. I saw the Stray Cats before they even had an American record deal. So uh, it's part of my life. So I'm into it. Do I like the new stuff that a lot of these older bands are coming out with? No, fuck no. They're doing it just to get on tour, and I'm doing the same thing. But I don't think they need new music. No, and fuck Whitesnake. Although although the guy, when he was married to that girl back in the day, she was beautiful.
Oh, Tony Katane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd still fuck her just so that I can say that I did it.
You know what? You and I have something in common, my friend.
That's why Sonny needs to stay away from me.
Who?
Sonny, I'd still would just so that I can go. Guess what I did last night?
Brother, just fucking do it. Who
Yeah.
cares what people say?
But I gotta ask about you had a podcast there for about a month and a half. Vampiro's Rituals.
Yeah.
Why did it end so early?
I'll answer that. But why are you and that dude fighting, man? What's
Well,
wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong with you two fucking guys?
basically a couple of months ago, he tried to get my Twitter account shut down because he said that I was threatening him with violence. So I called him out on his lies about business stuff, and I said to him, "Well, why has everybody else got these higher Twitter followings and making money and adverts and all this stuff? Well, you're apparently this hundreds of thousands of downloads kind of guy, and nothing's going right for you." And that's so I just don't fucking like him. He's very pretentious. So I can admit
Okay.
to being a shithead, but he's always like, "You can learn from me, man." It's like, suck my fucking dick. I can't learn from anybody.
Okay. It's funny that dick sucking comes into most altercations. It I got mental health issues, and I'm sick, and there were certain things that were just overwhelming me, and I just needed to step back and reorganize and reboot things. I'm in production on a TV show right now about mental health, and when I started that production, the company said, we want to do everything. We want you to stop what you're doing everywhere, and let's just do it here. So we were going to do the podcast where I'm at now, and that's the only reason. So I had to stop it, and I haven't started it up again because I just don't feel I have anything to say. I don't want to be another guy doing a podcast just to do one, hopefully making money. I really enjoy my YouTube project and Facebook, and I'm in a band. All of my focus is on the band. And I do video chats. Like when I drive from Los Angeles to Las Vegas twice a week for therapy and all that stuff. And I use this time to do video blogs. Like I'm talking to you right now. I just drive and I talk and I answer people's questions. And I'm thinking, I do that every day, sometimes twice a day. Do I really need to do a podcast? I mean, people, I can't, people who do podcast, people like me who think people give a fuck what they have to say, It's like oversaturation. Your podcast, other podcasts that people listen to, even the one I had, that's enough. You know, I'm more into what I'm doing, uh, and I'd rather speak into a camera and call you by name and answer your question so you know I'm paying attention to your problem. I just feel better like that. I don't know. That's the reason.
You mentioned their mental health problems, but how are you doing today? How do you feel today?
In general, or right this second?
Both.
I'm getting better. I'm sick. It was pretty bad. Um, it's working. It's not easy. It's taking its time because I had to reboot my whole life. There's a lot of therapy going on. A lot of things with spirituality, the meditation, the yoga, all that stuff, the detoxification of my body, the process of using alternative medicine to conquer the chronic arthritis that I have. It's painful. It's but I'm with the right people. I'm very, very sick. Um, but I've been doing this for a year now, the therapy, and it's starting to work. So it's frustrating, but at the same time I'm okay because I'm not gonna die. I'm not, you know, brain dead. I still know who I am. I'm starting a new life. I'm doing more TV work. I'm doing strictly music. The pro wrestling, I love it, but I don't. Something I've done for 38 years, and if I can still make a living off of it, I'm involved 100%. But I want something new, and I want to continue to feel healthy. I want to enjoy life. I want a better quality of life. I want to continue to learn, and I want to get out there with my band. I'm in the fight of getting healthier today. The last 3 or 4 days, the panic attacks and the anxiety have been fucking brutal, dude. I'm like, it's just, there's nothing you can do to turn it off. If it's there, it's there. But now I have the tools, meditating. Like sometimes I meditate 6 times a day, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, just so I'm staying positive. Um, I love it. It's a fight. I like to be in fights. This is a good fight. Uh, and the only option I have is to stay positive. I need to get better because I want to be there for my daughter. That's it.
Well, you seem way happier than I've ever seen you. Like you actually look tanned. You look healthy. Your arms look nice and swole.
I'm sexy.
I'd fuck you. Can we get back to the dick sucking talk?
I guess I have no choice. You've gone there, you Irish guys. I'm happy because I'm doing I'm practicing what I preach. The eating, the positive mental attitude, the meditation. I'm happy. I'm in a good place. You can see it, like you just said. But it's not easy, man. It's when you have a panic attack, there's no solution, there's no help, there's no pill. There's just you've got to go through the storm, and hopefully you come out okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I had my first anxiety attack a couple of years ago. Uh, let's just say I kind of overdid it the night before on the night out, and I thought my heart was about to explode out of my chest, and then I just thought, right, maybe calm down just a little, and thankfully it only happens once an hour now.
I mean, as long as you don't wake up with a dick in your ass and a penis in your mouth, then you're okay.
Well, it depends who's on the other end of the dick.
There you go.
But
No, I'm not coming. We're not going out, my friend.
but
You and the guy from the planet.
but yeah, but if you
John's
ever
gonna kill me.
but if you ever do, you could do way better than him. But if you ever do bring the podcast back, I could set you up with a guy who could help you get make it financially more worth your time.
I'm thinking about it. Yeah, yeah. I'm debating on whether or not to do it again. So we can talk about that. Yeah, for sure.
Well, speaking of podcasts, and just as we get to the final question here, I would
That's it. We're done. That's it. All right.
wrap it up. I would personally love to hear you on Keeping the 100 Conan's podcast, because that would be, people love to hear Vampiro and Conan's stuff. So to have you two guys together on the show would be huge numbers, and it would plug your YouTube loads. It would build up the social media. It would be a massive uh, draw for the marks, bro.
Fuck that. Fuck the marks. They can go fuck themselves. They wouldn't do major numbers. It wouldn't do great downloads. It wouldn't do anything for anybody. But I would love to do it. I believe we should do it. We're friends. There's enough history that we can talk about things that nobody else can talk about. I wouldn't do it to go back and forth. Like I know they have a certain dynamic with disco and all that kind of stuff, and they fuck around. It's just not. I mean, I'm sure it's humorous. It's just not my thing. If Konnan wanted me to be on his podcast, if Chris Jericho wanted me to be on his podcast, I would do it in a heartbeat. If those two fucking guys can't get over it, it's on them. But as far as the marks and the fans are concerned, I would do either. I would do them both in the fucking one day. I would do it now, driving in the car. It's on them, you know. I don't got beef with anybody. There's 1,000,001 people in the wrestling business that don't like me. I don't give a fuck, dude. They don't sign my paychecks, and I don't work for them. You know what I mean? I've done my best to be a positive role model. I've tried my best to help people. Some people like me, some people don't. That's life. You got to understand, I don't give a fuck. And there's a little clique in the new. Some of them are girls, some of the guys, and they think their shit don't stink. And we've worked together. And I saw them when they began, and I see their attitudes where they are now. Part of me wants to smack the shit out of those people, but part of me just says I was in their shoes and I was probably an asshole too. So that's how I know that I'm over it and I'm getting more mature, because I just don't care. I don't care, man. So yeah, I would do those podcasts in a heartbeat. I don't give a fuck, dude. I got nothing to hide.
Well,
You know what I mean?
oh yeah. Well, this is Vampiro. I want to thank you so much for your time, and thank you for doing this. And even though you owe me nothing, can I ask one favor?
Yeah, sure. As long as you don't put up a fucked up title about this interview. Yeah.
No, no. Every time,
As long as you consider me a friend, yes, I'll do you a favor.
now you can consider me one too. But the
Well,
favor.
if you're gonna let me hit you in the ass, then yeah, I guess we're friends.
Okay, then hurry up, because I'm ready, willing and able.
There you go.
But I've been doing stuff for Konnan for months, for a fact, over a year and a half now. But he will not do this podcast out of complete spite, I think. So anytime I have someone on from the wrestling industry, or even from any industry, I get them to record a short promo / threat towards him, which I then send to him to try to convince him to do the show. So would you mind?
I can't do it, brother. I just know it's gonna. But I'll do something. But I'm not gonna threaten anyone. Yeah,
Okay. Would you mind recording the message now? He's asking to do the podcast.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Tell me when you're recording.
Yeah, right now.
Okay, Carlos, it's Vam. You should do this podcast only because if you go to Ireland, I don't know why you would go, but if you ended up there and you bought this guy a couple beers, he'd let you fuck him in the ass. So it would save you the trouble of, I know you got your girl and all that kind of stuff, but you don't have to go to a club. And if you're feeling lonely, just give him a couple Guinness and he'll let you blow him out. So just as an investment, you should do his podcast in case you're over in Europe and you got nothing going on, and there's nothing on TV, and you're a little bit bored and you need to drop a load. He'll do it for you. How's that?
That's perfect, and I'm going to use it again for the Christmas special.
You gotta call me. I think I'm going. I'm supposed to go to England with my band soon, and we're talking to some promoters in Ireland. So if it happens, definitely would like to invite you to the show, and you can come and tell everybody how much I suck.
This is Vampiro. Thanks so much for doing this, and have a safe journey and enjoy Vegas.
Yeah, thank you, brother. And let's make sure we talk off the air. I want to hear what you have to say about this podcast business.
All right, no problem. I'll speak to you soon.
Yes, sir.
Bye
Thank you for
bye.
your time, brother. Oh, wait. No, before you go, I got to ask you something. Are we still recording?
Yes.
Okay, I need to know. Catholic or Protestant?
Well, Christian Catholic, but I'm not religious.
Okay. Is it still a problem?
Only for the wrong type of people.
And what are those?
Protestants.
Okay. Why is that wrong? So if you're not religious, why is that a problem? I'm curious for my own curiosity.
Oh no, it's not any real problem. It's just that I hate them
Is
all.
it still is it still is it still an issue in your country between Catholics and Protestants? Or has it kind of found a way to coexist?
It's sort of coexisted, but see, nobody wants to fight anymore because everybody's really vain, and nobody wants their hair wrecked or their face scarred.
Okay. So I would fit in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So Carlos Konnan is Protestant and I'm Catholic. That explains it all right there. We can coexist. But if it kicked off, it would kick off. But we're trying to find a way. How's that?
Perfect.
There you go, mate.